It's about getting into schools and talking to young people because, you know, I know that people can change. And it's about talking to people and getting them to understand and perhaps step back from violence and prejudice and whatever. And we just need to work together and keep on the good fight there.
Absolutely. Hey there, guys. We are ecstatically happy to announce that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
The times are changing, and with the unfortunate death of Sophie, those changes have made a massive impact for the future. If Sophie was with us still today, I can guarantee what you are doing will still be reaching so many lives of young teenagers, young adults, and those who wish to be as different as possible. So thank you very much.
To find out more about this incredible foundation and all the work they do, and more importantly, how you can help, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com.
Hello, this is Ricco Ross, aka Private Frost, and you're listening to the Chronicles Podcast with Tom and Jamie.
Hello, guys. Welcome back. We're back again. I couldn't think of anything funny to do for this intro, so I thought I'd just be like, hiya, what's going on? Everything all right? Are you well? Are you doing okay? How's Nan? Have you had a nice cup of tea today? I hope work was all right, you know, just looking out for you. At least it's the weekend now, you can enjoy that, but bear in one moment. Ugh. It's the Chronicles of Podcast. It's the 44th edition, Jamie, and I believe that these are the Chronicles of Ricco Ross.
They are indeed.
Wonderful. Right, let's get this show on the road. I'll stop muttering on. Hit it! Should we get that piece in?
Oh, let's get that piece in then.
Let's get the piece. Let's bring that piece in. You lovely little piece, you. Doing all your movies and TV shows and such, and your commercials, etc. Welcome to the Chronicles of Ricco Ross. Ricco is a Hollywood actor, best and most famously known for Private Frost in what Jamie calls the best sequel ever made, Aliens 2. Or Aliens.
Just
no
Aliens.
2. Minus the 2. Aliens.
It is the best sequel ever made. I know other people are going to be like, well, Jamie, what about Terminator 2? And you're very right.
Why are they Northern?
I don't know. Why is anyone we come up with voices for Northern? But I don't know. There's just something about Aliens. It's just the way it's so different from the first, but it's also the same, and it's so much action. It's just fucking wonderful.
The thing is, I can't comment because, like I said in the interview, I have yet to see Aliens, so I can't be like, well, actually, Terminator is better because I've seen Terminator. I've not seen Aliens.
This is very true. You do need to watch Aliens.
Sci-fis just don't appeal.
But that's why it's so good, because it's like a sci-fi, but it's a thriller, it's a horror.
As I promised our guest, I will watch it. Me and Karis will watch it.
Fantastic film. But no, this conversation is amazing. This is up there. I know I say it every fucking week that this is one of my favorites, but it is this man is awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously he sits in his car for an hour and a half with the filtered background, so you don't see his ears. So it's literally like a floating head at points. It's funny, but it's great. Ricco was a genuinely wonderful human, really nice guy. Some mental stories in there. The school stories one will always get me, which you would have heard in the trailer if you watched the trailer. If not, you are it's going to blow your mind if you haven't heard it yet. It was just a great all-round, just genuinely wonderful human being. Like, really nice guy who obviously spent a lot of time over here in the UK as well.
He did, and it's just, his story is just amazing. Like Tom said, he spent, I think he said 12, 13 years over here in London learning how to be a proper theatre actor, perfecting the London accent and just sounding like he is British. And he even does a snippet of this interview. It's spot on.
That's pretty good.
So many amazing stories, and his love for this film and everything all the opportunities he's had that's come from this film as well. Phenomenal conversation. Absolutely love this one.
It is good fun. So, without further ado, I don't think we should hang around anymore. I think we should get to that piece of resistance. Jamie!
Yes, sir.
Do you have any of those words of yours to be final at all?
I hate this job. No, Mr. Ross, thank you so damn much for coming and sitting with us. This was so much fun. Just a fascinating conversation and so open and honest about everything. And yeah, just wonderful. Everyone enjoy this one. This is superb.
Absolutely. Ricco, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day as you were running errands at the time that we were talking to you in the middle of your vehicle on the freeway there. We really appreciate you taking the time out to sit down and talk to us. So thank you so much. We loved it. And hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, interviewing this week, he is a theater and Hollywood actor, famously known for Aliens, Mission Impossible, and TV shows such as ER and Beverly Hills 90210. It's Ricco Ross. Mr. Ross, how are you, sir?
I'm well. I'm very well. How you guys doing?
Yeah, not too bad. What's with the background?
I'm sitting in a car.
Are you?
Yes.
I like
Oh, damn. Are you?
And that's a picture of my backyard.
Was it?
I like it. I like it. It works.
Just so you're aware, we tend to do these interviews about an hour to an hour and a half. Are you going to be all right sitting in the car for that long?
Yeah, I'm good. I just had to pull over just to do it because I had some errands I was running. But I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Just on the side of the freeway, just hanging, just chilling. As long as you're happy, Ricco, I'm happy to carry on. But yeah,
I'm good, baby. I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful. Jamie, I'll let you get started. We'll get your show straight on the road.
I was going to say, literally.
Yeah.
I was going to say, normally I just do a little introduction, welcome you in, and then we bombard you with questions. How's that sound?
All right, let's do it, baby.
Superb. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, today we bring you another fantastic guest. Today's guest is a wonderful actor who has been in many iconic movies, including Wishmaster, Mission Impossible, and even appeared in Doctor Who. Today's guest is possibly most famously known for his portrayal of the man with the greatest opening line for a character ever, with the immortal words, "I hate this job," when he played Private Frost in Aliens. Ladies and gentlemen, he's lean and mean. He has a bad feeling about this drop, but hopefully he doesn't have a bad feeling about this interview, because today we bring you the Chronicles of Ricco Ross.
Very nice, very nice. Funny that you mentioned that opening line, because that line was just a throw-in. You know, I just threw that away. James Cameron was nice enough to give us the freedom to ad-lib if we were so inspired. And I just got out of on one take. I got out of there and I just said, I hate this job, because we've been lying in that damn hypersleep forever, trying to get everything right, trying to get the mirrors right so it looks like it's a bunch of hypersleep. And I just threw that line out there, and he liked it. He says, Ricco, can you next tape do it again? Say the same line, and it ended up being in the movie.
That's incredible.
That is awesome.
I was rewatching the movie ready for doing this, and as soon as you said that, I was like, that is possibly the greatest opening line for a character ever.
I never thought about it, but that was the opening line. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Literally the first thing you say, I was like, that's incredible.
But Ricco, how was your, well, should we say pandemic season? How has the last couple of years been?
Man, I almost don't want to tell you, man, because it was such a horrible thing for people to go through, for the world to go through, and some people it just crushed them, and a lot of people passed away because of it. But I got to tell you, man, from my perspective, it was kind of a needed kind of reset, a reboot for myself. I think for the world as well. There are a lot of things happening, and I think that forced us to sit back and kind of reassess things. So for me, I ended up getting COVID before Tom Hanks. I mean, it was before people really knew about it that much. I didn't realize it was COVID. I thought it was a flu. And And then they did a test at UCLA to see if people had it. And I signed up for the test and found out that I had COVID and that I had the antibodies, and that the antibodies were strong, and that, I was probably really safe. So it took away a lot of the anxieties that most people felt that hadn't got it, because they felt like, first of all, I don't want to get it, but if I do get it, how bad is it going to be on me? Can I survive it? So it was a very frightening thing. I mean, right now, I think people look back and they don't worry so much. But at the time when we didn't know, it was a very frightening thing for a lot of people. But for me, it wasn't, because I'd had it, gotten through it, didn't even know I had it. And I took those antibodies on the road, man. I started traveling. I went to Australia. I just started going all over the place.
So are you the reason that it's like calmed down now then? Because they obviously... They're like, Ricco Ross, he's got the antibodies. Get him in here now. Take his blood, right?
Exactly.
I just love that that's now the barometer for how serious this was. I got it before Tom Hanks did. That's when it got serious. Tom Hanks went down.
That's when it got serious. Exactly. Yep. How was it for you guys?
It was all right. Didn't have any problems in my friends and family or anything like that. It was just a bit of time off work. I got it, but later on. I got it like start of this year, I think it was. I got it. So, yeah.
I've had it twice.
Were you worried about it when you got it?
No, because I was fully vaccinated. So
I got it twice, yeah. May 2020, I was really ill. And then New Year, just gone, back in December.
So the first time you got it, you hadn't had the vaccination?
No, because it was only been around for 2 months, not even that. So it's quite early stages. I can't remember when Tom Hanks got it, but
was it hard on you?
Yeah, Ricco, like it kicked my ass. Basically, it absolutely floored me, and I had a heart attack in 2018. So yeah,
shut up.
It was it was bad. it was bad.
My God.
But yeah, all good now, boys. 100% healthy. All it's all good.
You're a survivor, man. Wow.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's serious.
So a question I like to ask all of our guests, take us back to when you were young Master Ross. What did you want to be when you grew up? Was it always acting? Was that always it, or was that just something that happened?
Man, you would not believe it. I grew up in Chicago, and my father moved out of Chicago because there was a lot of gang violence. And when you have 6 boys and 5 girls, it could be dangerous. And so he moved us out to 11 kids, man, 11 kids. So he moved us out to the country. And for my 9th birthday, we're very poor, man. But for my 9th birthday, my father, for some reason, brought home a horse and a little Shetland pony. And me and that pony, man, we would ride like the wind. And so I thought the first thing that I really wanted to be was a jockey. I didn't realize I'd grow to be 6'3", and I didn't know the jockeys had to be small. But I was like, me and that horse, man, we caught the wind like nobody's business. And my father, he couldn't afford a saddle, so he just brought me the horse. So I learned to ride bareback. And when you learn to ride bareback, you know how to ride. So the first thing I ever wanted to be was I wanted to be a jockey or a rodeo, some kind of rodeo star.
That's amazing. I'll be honest with you, Ricco. I did not see it going that way. I did not see that coming at all.
I don't know. I'm more shocked by the answer or 11 kids. Both are blowing my mind.
Dad,
yes, and as a matter of fact, I thought that when I grew up, because I really enjoyed having a big family, man. And so when I grew up, I thought I'm gonna have a big family too. And I had 2 kids, and I was like, oh hell no, this is expensive and it's hard. No, man.
So where did acting come from then? Was this you chasing a passion or something that just sort of happened?
No, I mean, you hear this phrase a lot that, sometimes people say, I didn't choose it, it chose me. It was kind of that way for me too. I went to a school and and my father and mother split up, and then we left Illinois and we moved to Florida, and we moved to this area called, believe it or not, we moved to Fort Lauderdale, but at that time they were busing people. So they bused me to a school called Plantation. And coming from, dude, I'm telling you the truth, a school called Plantation. That was the name of the place. And I didn't want to move to the South anyway. And then to go to a school called Plantation wasn't high on my list.
Not that.
I am telling you the God's honest truth. And so I get to the school, and they said, well, this is the school you're going to be at for 6 months while the other school is going to be completed. It's a new school. So we would go in the afternoon, and their student body would go in the morning. But the problem with me is I come from a large family. I'm not good at standing still. I'm kind of like a mischievous kid. And so I would always try and sneak in to the school before they would allow us in. And this one lady, she saw me and she wouldn't let me sneak in. And then she let a little girl go back because the little girl had left her book. And then I went to this lady and I just put on an Oscar performance, and I got so upset that I had tears running down my eyes. I said, so you let her in, but you wouldn't let me in. And the little girl had a real reason to go in, and the teacher knew I was lying, but she also knew that this guy's a pretty good actor. And she told me, she says, you're not going in, but what you are going to do is you're going to be in my play.
Oh, no way.
Said, yes, man, I'm telling you the truth. I said, no, I'm not. She goes, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I says, no, I'm not. She goes, listen, can you perform? Can you improvise? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do this thing called improvise. And I said, yeah. And she says, well, can you be in the lunchroom at a certain time tomorrow? I said, yeah. She says, well, then you're going to be in my play. And that was it, man. She told me I was going to be in her play, and I was in her play. I played some little boxer guy. And my dad, one of the things my dad was he was a Golden Glove boxer in Chicago. So he taught all of his kids how to box. So I was really good at that kind of thing. And then the next play she cast me in, I was one of the leads, and it was like the biggest play that this school had ever had. And I kind of got the bug, but my family, having such a large family, they really wanted people to go into science or go into business. They didn't want people to go into the arts, my parents. But when I got in college, they said, listen, you got to choose a degree. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to a counselor, and he says, well, what are you good at? What do you like doing? And what do you think you can make a living at? I says, well, I think I like acting, and I think I'm good at it, but I don't know if I can make a living at it. So he says, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And that was when it started. That was when it started, man.
That's incredible. So do you have any no one really influenced you? There's no inspirational people that you were like, I want to be like that person. That's what I want to do, sort of thing. It was literally just through plays at school.
It was just the plays at school, and I really didn't take it that seriously. But it came time to graduate, and I was graduating, and I felt like I had done this degree in acting. I really didn't feel like I was ready for it. So one of my instructors says, well, why don't you apply for grad school? And I applied for UCLA. They only accepted 12 people from in the world in this program. And I was one of the 12.
No way.
That's when I thought, okay, you should take this seriously, because obviously you've got something. So let's take it serious. So I went to UCLA. They gave me a full ride. I didn't have to pay for anything. I went to school, and after, it was a 2-year program, a postgraduate program, so for a master's. And after the 2-year program, just at the end of it, I started working in Hollywood. The first thing I did was a soap opera here called Young and the Restless. And the second thing I did was a television series called Hill Street Blues. And that year, Hill Street Blues won some crazy amount of Emmys. And that was the start of my career.
Incredible.
Fair play.
Yeah, that is just phenomenal.
And finally, strangely enough, my school had their 50th anniversary, because we were the first class to graduate from it. So I went back to the school for the 50th anniversary, but also to announce a scholarship that I started at that school for the theater department for some deserving student that they're going to have annually.
That's amazing. Fair play. That's amazing. But didn't you
Plantation?
They've really changed the name of that school.
I really hope they have now. Yeah.
Oh man, no, they haven't, man. It's still there the same way. Nothing's changed, brother. Nothing's changed.
But didn't you move from America to London to study classical acting?
So this is what happened. I do Hill Street Blues. I play a gang member. Now, keep in mind, as I told you earlier, I come from Chicago, so gang members, I grew up with them. I knew them like the back of my hand. And it was nothing for me to play a gang member. So I played this gang member, but you got to keep in mind, I'm playing this gang member, and I got a master's degree from UCLA, and I'm playing a gang member. After I played that role, everything I did from that point on for the next year it was the same role, but the different character's name. I was playing other gang members. I was doing the same sort of thing. And partly for a young kind of athletic Black guy at that time, there weren't a lot of roles for us in Hollywood. So I was happy to be working, but I felt like I had more to offer. And then I went to a professor and said, listen, I just feel like I have more to offer and I'm frustrated. And I said, I feel bad because I should be grateful because I'm working. He says, why don't you audition to go to study Shakespeare in London? And I was like, London, England? And I auditioned, I got in, I went through the program, and it was a beautiful program, man. But one of the things they told the Americans, this is, listen, when you're here, try and acquire a British accent. It says, because we want you to be focusing on the character and not so much on the accent. And so for me, that was like, for most people, if you're in an environment and people are speaking a certain way and you're intentionally trying to learn it, it's kind of easy. And so I was a sponge, man. By the time I left, my English was better than most Londoners. And I don't know, I can't believe I'm saying this on air, but I'm going to tell you guys this. I wanted to work. I wanted to see if I could pull it off in front of an English audience. That was my goal. And so, like my English counterparts, I start auditioning, walking into auditions as an Englishman and auditioning. And for the first 4 years, I worked as an Englishman in London.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
But can you still do it now? Does it hold up?
I was at the National Theater working at the National Theater for a year, and they had my picture in the paper. And I remember I was coming back off stage every day, wondering if immigration is going to be waiting for me. It was a frightening thing. But I was young and courageous, man. I just thought the worst thing is going to happen to me. They're going to send me back to the States, which is where I'd probably be going anyway. So I took the shot. I don't know if it will work now because of computers and whatnot. But at that point, I created my own ID number. I just made one up. And dude, I would go on these auditions and I would go as an Englishman and I would work as an Englishman.
Not worthy, Ricco. Just not worthy at all. Like, yeah.
In answer to your question, can I still do it now? I did a movie about 5 years ago called A Husband for Christmas. And I was the husband and the bride was Vivica Fox. And the husband in the script was from England, and he was trying to move to America, but he needed to get married to do so. So that was a role where I had to pull this English accent back out. And what I did was 2 days before we started shooting, until the very last day when they said cut, I had an English accent 24 hours a day. And people were like, what? I would tell them in my English accent that listen, I'm working on a part and I just don't want to be worried about it. And so that was it, man. And the weirdest thing was once we showed I came to the premiere of the movie, and I met up with some of the crew members, and they had never heard me speak in my real accent. And when I started speaking in my real accent, they thought I was joking around. And I said, "No, man, this is the way I really speak," and they just could not believe it.
It's all, but to be fair, Ricco, coming over from America anyway, you probably spoke better than most Londoners anyway, straight away before you even started doing the English accent.
It's the most bizarre method acting I've ever heard in my life, but I absolutely love it.
But the English are so good at doing American accents. It's amazing. I mean, I was in Guys and Dolls, and these guys were doing New York accents. They were killing it. So it gave me the courage to say, yeah, man, you can do this thing too. And even now, we've got actors that come from across the pond, man, and you guys kill it over here with American accents. So I feel happy for one of us to be able to, to get back at you.
It's true now you say that. Like, I instantly thought for some reason of Martin Freeman in like Black Panther and stuff when he does the American accent. I'm like, is that you?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
So with this, like moving all the way to England and stuff, like, what did your family think of that? Were they supportive?
My family, I got to say, my family were the moment I graduated from college, they were supportive of anything because my family's big goal was we're going to do everything we can to get you through college. After that, you're on your own. And if you can do that, you'll make your parents proud. And so after that, I mean, I'm sure they would have probably preferred when I first started off that I had gone into business or something, but they were just happy that I was doing my own thing. And once I started working right out of college, man, they just thought they were very, how people are too. When they see you on TV, or they can tell their friends that you're on TV. Now, then all of a sudden they love the fact that you're an actor. So they were very supportive. But when I moved to England, I gotta say it was a kind of frightening thing because I didn't know anybody. And my dad had passed away the year before. And I remember I had been left just like a couple of grand, right? And I took that money and I moved over to England. So I only had a couple of grand. And I was going to school and I had to find a job. And I found a job in Earl's Court working as a chef in a Pizza Hut. And that was the move. And I thought it was only going to be 1 year. But the 1 year passed so fast that I thought, if I go back now, I'm going to get back into the same thing, playing the same roles. So I thought, I just want to stay here and see if I can pull this off for a few years, and then I'll go back. And so I pulled it off for 4 years. I got my papers then, and then I stayed a total of 13 years before I eventually moved back to Hollywood.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So obviously, as I mentioned in the intro, you're known for playing Private Frost in what is possibly known as one of the greatest sequels of all time. And it's hard to argue with that, let's be honest. But before discussing like how you got involved in the movie, did you have much like affinity for the first movie before going in?
None at all, because I hadn't seen it. And I remember once I got cast in it, I was worried about seeing it because I thought I don't want to be influenced to kind of replicate something somebody else has done. But then I thought, I have to know what the heck this is all about. And I saw the movie by myself, and I got to tell you, I was by myself watching this movie, scared as hell. That movie was so suspenseful, blew me away. But it also did let me know that the level that of expectations. And our film was so different because that film was more of a suspense movie. Our film was more of an action movie. But it did kind of like set the tone of excellence, and so it kind of really made me understand how serious a job it was. But you also have to keep in mind when you're working on a film, no matter what film you're working on, a lot of them seem like they're going to be like the biggest thing you've ever done, and most of them aren't. And then you'll get some other films that you don't think much of, and all of a sudden it's a big film. So I didn't know, but what I did know was that that the quality was going to be good. I had read the script was good, and I just thought, my job was just to go in there and do my thing, and then I'll let the chips fall where they may.
I just like the idea of you being like, we're going to fight what? Really? Are you for real right now? Because, I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up. I've never seen an alien film. I do know exactly what they're about and what, and what happens from more like clips, like the greatest movies of all time, that sort of thing. Like, that thing is scary as hell. What's it called, Jamie? It's like a
Xenomorph.
You've never seen it?
No. I'm Rico. I'm terrible with films. I have not a short attention span, but I can't sit still. So I find myself, I'll be like, once a movie's on, I'm watching it, I'm fine. It's in the initial part of, do I want to sit for 2 hours? Do I want to sit here? What do I really want to do that? I could go and do this. I could go out. I could go to the gym. I could go watch this TV show, which is only 45 minutes. I could go and play PlayStation. There's so many, my brain's just like on the go constantly. So I find if I sit and watch it, I'll watch it. But it's just that initial part of, okay, so Netflix. Okay, so, and then you flick for absolutely hours go, nah, yeah, I'll watch that at some point. Yeah. 2 years later, never mind, I'll go and do something else.
I gotta tell you though. I was flipping through the channels probably about 4 years ago, and Aliens was halfway through, it was on. And I just thought, I'm gonna watch a little bit of this to see how it holds up. And I was surprised how well it held up. And I was surprised that it captured my attention. Because once I've seen a movie, I'm not one of these people that'll watch a movie again. If I've seen it and I know the ending, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
But I think out of all the movies, this is a kind of movie that would hold your attention because James Cameron was so good at creating action and suspense in the same film. And I think it's hard it's hard. It's almost like you get cliffhangers in the film, so you want to know what's happening next. So I think you might want to sit down and just check this particular film up. And I'm not saying that because I'm in it. I'm saying because they managed to do something that was rarely done. And I also think the film was ahead of its time in a lot of different ways. There had never been a real action figure, female action figure like Sigourney. They definitely hadn't had a female action figure with another crazy strong female actor, and like Jeanette played Vasquez. And then even the little girl was a small girl. She was young and she was a kid, but she was the only survivor. Everybody else got taken out. And so the women in the film were real survivors and real action heroes. And then I also think it was a great film, kind of like ahead of its time when it comes to diversity, because if you look at the film, and they've got everybody in there. And I just think that if you're gonna watch a film that's a long film, and it's not really long like Godfather or something, but if you watch a film like Aliens, I think that is the kind of film that has a good way of keeping your attention.
Okay, I'll make you a deal then. I will watch them. I will watch them because they're on the list, as they say. And
I can't speak for the first one, because the first one, it's really suspenseful and it doesn't have the action. I think it's a great movie, but I think that's the type of movie where you may find it a little more hard to sit still. But I think the second one, our movie, that one has enough to keep you freaking guessing on the edge of your seat and wondering what the hell is happening next.
Okay. All right. I'll make you a deal. I'll watch it and then I'll drop you an email. How's that? All right.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah. No worries.
All right.
So how did you get the role of Private Frost, and how did that all come about? Was it just you go in an audition, or was it something completely different?
Yeah, that was all it was. It was just going in and doing your thing. But when you're auditioning and you don't know a lot about these projects you're auditioning for. So you're just walking in there, doing your thing, leaving. And the way I do it, and I think a lot of actors do, once I walk out of the audition, if I got it, great. If I don't get it, that's fine too. But I don't think about it anymore because it's no longer in my hands, it's in somebody else's hands. And then when I first started off, I remember I would go into an audition and then I would come out of the audition and I would kick myself because I would think, oh, you could have done that better, or you should have done this, or you should have done that. And I wish I can go back in there, and I wonder what's going to happen. And it would just drive me crazy, And then I got a little better at it. And I just thought, your job is to prepare as best you can, go in there, do your thing. When you walk out, let the chips fall where they may, because nothing else is in your control. The only thing you can control is when you walk in that room, do your thing. So I walked in there and I did my thing, and I walked, and while I was doing my thing, I'm feeling good about what I'm doing. And James Cameron says, listen, would you not accept any other role before you accept this one? Because I really like you. And so I kind of knew that, I had an in, but he auditioned me for Hudson and Hicks, the lead, because he didn't really, he wanted to see, those were the roles that had enough dialogue for him to see what I could do. And at that time, I got to admit, I was a young kid. I was really cocky. James Cameron was not the James Cameron he is now. Yeah. But I told him, I said, I wasn't interested unless it was to play one of the leads. And so I basically left, and he said, well, listen, before you accept anything else, come back and talk to me. I said, I'll do that. And so I went on and I was auditioning for other things. And then I auditioned for Full Metal Jacket with Stanley Kubrick. Now, Stanley Kubrick, you got to keep in mind at the time, Stanley Kubrick was the shit at the time. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say. I don't know if I can say that.
You can. You say what you like. It's all good.
Okay, so he was the shit, man, and that's who I really wanted to work with. And James Cameron had only done, I think, a couple of films, man. So he really hadn't done that much. This guy had done everything, and also there was word in the streets among actors that he does a lot of improv, and I live for that, So I go in and I meet him, and I audition for him, and he offers me the role. He offers me 8 weeks on the role. But I remember I didn't accept it because James said, listen, at least come see me before you accept anything. So I go back and I meet up with James. I said, listen, I told you I was going to meet you before I accepted anything. And as a man of my word, I'm here to tell you that Stanley Kubrick just offered me 8 weeks, man, and I really I think that's where I'm going to go. And he goes, what if I rewrite the script and I put these 3 characters in, and I can offer you that? I said, because I was, again, just looking for the lead, and if he was going to offer me the lead, I'd take it. And he said, I'll put these 3 roles together, and he says, I'll pay you as well. But Kubrick said, I want you to do 8 weeks, but he didn't want to pay anybody anything. He paid you the least he could possibly pay you, and he wanted to give you 8 weeks. So James said, I will let you come to my shoot a week late if Kubrick will agree to release you after 8 weeks. And so I said, oh, I can do both these films. So I get in contact with Kubrick's team, and I tell them, listen, can you release me after 8 weeks? And they said no. I said, well, can you at least let me read the script? They said, the script hasn't been written yet. We're going to do a lot of improv, and that's going to be what you bring to the script is what's going to come out of the script. And then I said, well, wow, I have to make a decision. I said, well, can you at least pay me my fee? And they go, no, everybody's getting scale. So I had to make a decision, and I believe it or not, I turned down Stanley Kubrick, and I did Aliens instead. And that was that, man.
I think you made the right decision, let's be fair.
I think, I mean, in hindsight, I think I did make the right decision. But, Full Metal Jacket was a hell of a movie. And and I really would have, I still am curious what would have become of the role that he had cast me in. Because if he's going to let me go in there and just do my thing, that I lived for that. So I've always kind of like wondered what if.
It's a shame they wouldn't just let you go after 8 weeks.
I know, but
Especially
I
if they
understand
offered
it
you 8
because
weeks.
no, what happened was Aliens, James Cameron was pretty much on schedule because he had to be. But Kubrick's film took over a year to make. And we were shooting at the same time in London. And I remember the Americans is a small kind of group at that time that were there, the actors. And we would meet up at different bars and places, and we would talk about our shoots. And those guys were miserable. And the Aliens crew, we were loving our shoot, but they were miserable. And they kept extending these guys, and they were paying them all minimum wage. So they kept extending them, and these guys were locked into this film, getting paid very little, waiting around mostly, 90% of the time in a film like that, you're just waiting. You're not even being used. You're just waiting in a foreign country, living in a room someplace. And so they were miserable. So I think I understand why he didn't release me. He knew that it wasn't going to be 8 weeks. It probably would have been more like 18 weeks or something like that.
Mm. What I love about Aliens, though, is that you have this great group of people, and James found a way to make you care about them all. So often in a like a group, you got like these are your 2 main guys, them lot are in the back, but all of them have their own certain things that makes you care about them all, and they're all important in their own unique way. Is that how it was on set? Like you were all just this group of people, like coming, like this great camaraderie and whatnot, or was it literally come in, do your film?
No, dude, it is that way on a lot of films, but I gotta say it wasn't that way on this film. And I think the reason why is they gave us a couple of weeks training with a British, some type of British sergeant. I don't know what your equivalent is, but this guy came in and he taught us how to be soldiers. And he was a hard-nosed guy. He came and did his thing, man. And he got us into shape. He got us knowing the signals. He got us working like a unit. And those 2 weeks, I think we got to know each other well enough to kind of like rev each other up, to tease each other. And that those 2 weeks giving us that paid off at the breakfast scene in Aliens, because that's the breakfast scene where they're doing the knife thing. We all get out of hypersleep. And a lot of those lines were never in the script. But James allowed us to just riff. And so we were riffing, and James was just letting it roll. And he'd cut, and then things that he liked, he'd say, keep that. Things he didn't like, he said, get rid of that. And we were able to tease each other and feel confident with each other, and we knew how we could tease each other. And it gave it that feeling of guys who have been used to being together. Like there's this one line where I had to say something about Arturian Poontang.
And then mention that.
And then Mark goes, yeah, but Rico, but Frost, yours was a man. And he just threw that in. And on the spot, I go, hey, when it's Arturian, baby, it don't matter. And I just threw that in. And so all of that ended up being in the movie. But we were able to do that because we actually felt like, we knew each other enough to rip each other up. So I think in answer to your question, that's why it felt like we knew each other and like we were people who had been around each other a while, because we actually had that 2 weeks to get to know each other really well.
That's awesome. I love that.
That is incredible. But when you had to learn lines and stuff, Ricco, how do you actually, because obviously movies are long, and you obviously have a lot of dialogue to remember and that sort of things. Like how do you practice that sort of thing?
I got to tell you, man, after you do Shakespeare, everything else is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is easy. And especially if you're doing a play of Shakespeare, because when you're on stage, dude, there's no take 2, take 3. You get one shot to get it right. And if you don't get it right, you better figure it out in front of an audience. And once you can do Shakespeare, and that was another reason that attracted me to it, because I just knew if I do this, I can do anything after this. Like people say, if you live in New York, if you can survive New York, you can live anywhere. Well, if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything. And I think that was it gave me confidence too. So normally with me, it is I'll read a script one time just to get the story, and then I'll read a script a second time from my character's point of view. And when you read it from your character's point of view, very often what you'll do is you'll start discovering things that maybe even the director hadn't noticed, because you're reading it specifically from your character's point of view.
Yeah.
So I will read it a second time from my character's point of view, and I'll learn some things, and I'll also maybe even create some things to really make that character real for me. And usually with directors, if you walk in there and you want to change something, as long as it's not somebody else's cue line, if you do it and it works, they're cool with it. If it doesn't work, they'll let you know.
Yeah.
They will let you know. And I'm cool with that too, because I'm not thin-skinned. When you come from a family of 11 kids, you're not a thin-skinned person. So for me, it's just business. I'm gonna give you options, and if you don't like them, let me know, and that's cool with me. But I'm gonna, as an artist, I want to at least let you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So obviously, unfortunately, we lost an incredible actor 5 years ago, a man who was one of your co-stars in Aliens, in Bill Paxton. Now, everyone loved Bill. How was Bill to work with? Is there any fun stories of your time with Bill?
Man, I can tell you a lot of fun stories, but the best stories I can't tell you.
That's always the way.
But Bill and I, we had a great relationship. But like you said, everybody loved Bill, man. Everybody loved Bill. But when we were filming the movie, I remember thinking this. I remember that Bill his character had this insecurity, and Bill in real life had an insecurity about his craft. And what he would do because of that insecurity is that we would be, on a film set, there's so much downtime. And the saying is, you rush to wait. And so we would rush and get ready and all that stuff, and then just start talking stuff around, just start chit-chatting and talking about anecdotes. But Bill would be working on his monologue, or working on this scene, or working on that scene. He would be still working, almost like he was a slow learner, But what it was it wasn't that he was a slow learner. I think he had a certain insecurity about his craft, and with that, and the character was insecure. And I think he just leaned into that. And I remember thinking that I'm going to say this anyway. I remember thinking that the drop speech when we do the drop, and Bill has this speech where he starts talking all the shit, and you really think that he's like gonna go down there and do some really hero stuff. I remember thinking, I don't believe him. I don't believe he's the badass that he's saying he is. And I did not know that Cameron wanted that to show through, that this guy was really not the hero that he sounds like he is, even though he ended up dying heroically. And so I would say that Bill was a perfectionist, so he would spend most of his time really trying to get this craft right. And when the film finally came out, I remember thinking, "You stole the show. You stole the show." Now that's on set. Off set, I really enjoyed Bill's company because Bill had a way with I guess he came from Texas, and he had a way with sayings. Like he would just have a saying or an analogy that was like something you would never think of, and it would always be hilarious to me, you know. And I'm trying to think of some of them right now, but I can't think of any. But I remember when I went to, they had a special little event in Hollywood for him, and I went to it, and some of the actors came up and spoke, and Tom Hanks and Rob Lowe did impersonations of Bill Paxton, and they killed it. But they killed it because they were using these crazy sayings that Bill would say, and they remembered them, and everybody knew, yes, that was Bill. And the last time I saw Bill, we were at a conference someplace. I think it may have been Canada or some way. And I remember we walked out of the place, and we went and had a smoke, and then we were just talking. And then we came back, and we were going to go through the lobby, but there were a lot of people in the lobby. And I remember him stopping, going, "Oh man, I can't go in there." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Man, if I go in there, I'm going to be there for the next hour." And it dawned on me, that's right, dude. You can't walk in there because they would go crazy. People loved him. Fans freaking loved him, and that was Bill, man. So a week before he went into for the operation, I texted him and I said, "Yo, Bill, how you feeling about this operation? You good, man?" And he goes, "Oh," he says, "It's a pretty regular operation." He says, "Not a big deal." He says his only thing was that he was working on a TV series here called Big Love, and he said they're working me so hard that I just want to recover and get back. And so he thought it was going to be a routine kind of thing, and he went in. And that was the last text I got from him. And the next thing I know, I hear on the news that he had passed away. So I was, of course, in shock. But yeah, great guy, man. Great guy. I'll tell you somebody else, too. You were asking earlier about, you're saying that usually films, you know who the stars are, and you know who are the little actors, and you know who the extras are. Our extras, man, even our extras, man, we got along great during the shoot. And Tipping was an extra. He was a stunt guy, kind of extra. And he was a ball to be around as well. And he ended up years later, he was a parachute professionalist as well. And he ended up dying on a film set out of a jump from a plane. And I guess both parachutes didn't work or got tangled, and he ended up passing away. So Bill was the first one of us to go. I mean, Tipping was the first one of us to go. And then Al passed away. And then Bill passed away. So it's been a long time, man, but it was a great cast, and I just I'm really happy that we had that experience.
Yeah, like I say, he was so loved. When he passed, like the amount of outpouring of love for the man was just unreal. Like it's a real shame. It is a real shame.
It is a real shame, man. It is a real shame. Yeah.
But before we did this, I really wanted to rewatch Wishmaster because I haven't seen it in so long. But the one thing I remember about that film is there's this image of you with like your chest like butterflying open. I think I found a picture of it online. I was like, yes, that's what I remember. That did happen. I'm remembering that right, aren't I? Yeah.
You are remembering it. And I remember when they showed it to me, it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen in my life, man. I mean, it really was disgusting because basically it's like somebody had peeled your skin off and then held you up from your skin, would put hooks in your skin and held you up that way. That film was a surprise for me because I did not expect it to do as well as it did, but I underestimated the director and his editing team and the actors because we did our thing and he went back and they didn't have much of a budget. It wasn't a big budget, but he went and did his thing, man, and people loved that film and so much so that they made the sequels to it. And I was really impressed because that was a film that I I underestimated.
Was that?
And it was
prosthetic?
also a film. It wasn't prosthetic. Yes, it was a prosthetic, and it was a beautifully made prosthetic. And I basically had to hang, and they had a rope around me, and then they had this thing stitched up, and it looked like I was hanging from my skin, but I actually had a rope holding me up. But it was the one film where it had the actor that played Freddy Krueger. It had the actor that played the Candyman. It had the lead of that movie as well, and all in the same movie. And it's not a lot of movies where you get these guys all in the same movie, So it was cool.
That's awesome.
That is cool, yeah.
I really need to watch it again. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, come on, where is it?
Sorry, Jerry.
No, go on.
As I say, because you transitioned into TV then as well. You've done like ER, Babylon 5, Beverly Hills 90210, and that sort of thing. Like, I imagine going from movies to TV is a completely different beast in a way, and things are obviously done so much differently.
I prefer doing movies but I do TV and commercials really because the money's good. But really, as an artist, I like film and I like theater. The problem I have with television and commercials is that very often they cast you to be the way you are, So they pretty much don't want you coming here creating a character. They cast you because of who you are, and they want you to come in there and do it. Also, when you're doing television, very often the director will tell you, I want you to come over here, say this, and then I want you to sit down and say that. And so basically they're directing you in so many ways. And basically they're thinking, I got so much time to get this in. I got to shoot this, so I don't have time to sit here and play around and discover things. I knew before. The director often knows before the shoot starts that day, this is how it's going to go. You're going to do these things. We're going to shoot it in this amount of time, and then we're going to move on to the next scene. So I think that's part of the reason why I prefer film, because films, you do get a chance to play around. You may find yourself. I was working on Mission Impossible, and we had a single shot that the director was it was me and Christian Scott Thomas, and then the director was Brian De Palma, and we're doing Mission Impossible, and we had to walk. Her and I had to walk down a corridor and just push the elevator button. She had to push the elevator button. And I got to tell you guys, man, we must have done this 20 times. And Brian De Palma would just go, okay, let's go again. And to the point where Christian said, listen, can you tell me, is there something I'm doing wrong? And can you tell me what I'm doing? Why are we doing it so much? And he goes, just do it. And that was his response. I guess he knew what he wanted. I guess he wanted to flex his muscles, that what he says goes, but he did know what he wanted, and he had the money and the budget to do it until he got it to where he felt it was right. And I just thought it was such a simple scene. I didn't understand why it needed 20 takes, and she felt the same way. But that's the thing about film. You get to play around with it, and when you get that many takes, you also have some takes where you can play around. Sometimes when I'm working on a film, I'll give the director what they want, and then I'll ask him, once you get what you want, can I have a take? And then that take, I'll just do my thing. They may not use it, they may use it, but I get an opportunity to do my thing. And 50% of the time, they go with my take.
Ah, nice.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I suppose that's a way of showing off what you can do as well. So when the director's casting the next thing, then go, hey, that Ricco Ross, he impressed me, that thing he did last time, I tell you. Let's get him in again. So
I just think as an artist, you want them to know, because they don't know what you can do. When I was at the National Theatre in London, I was auditioning for it, and I remember I could do backflips and all kind of things. I was really athletic, and the choreographer says, "So listen, all right, I can see you guys can do the choreography. Are there any tricks that you can do?" And of course, my hand went up, and I'm showing him all these cartwheels and backflips and front flips I can do. And it was an important lesson to learn, because he put that stuff in the script, and every night I had to do it, and I was like, "Never again, bro." Never again.
Is there any tricks you can do? I'm really good at standing still.
Yes,
my feet
exactly.
do not leave the floor, I can assure you, sir.
I'm a master at that.
So I saw you wrote and produced a project called Train and Miles back in 2013, I believe it was. What was that about, and what made you want to dip your toe into writing and producing?
Well, I didn't write it, but I wrote some of it. I got credit for writing because as I told you, I often look at the script from my character's point of view, and it's about these two jazz greats. It's about Miles Davis and Coltrane, and these guys were such greats, and so this guy brought the script to me. He said, "I'd like for you to play Coltrane," and I just love the idea of playing real people anyway. And so I just thought, yeah, I'm down with it. Send me the script. And he sent me the script, and I did my research. And like I said earlier, I do my research, man. So by the time I got back with the director, I said, I know this character, and I don't think he would say these things. I don't think he would react this way. I got some ideas. Would you like to listen to them? And so I did some rewrites, and I sent it back to him, and he loved them. And he loved them so much, he says, "I'm going to give you a writing credit." I said, "You don't have to give me a writing credit. If you can let me do it, then I'll feel happy as an actor and as an artist." But he gave me writing credit anyway, and also he said because I helped so much with that he was going to let me also be a producer on it, and so I became a producer for it as well. But it was one of those things where you get a chance to play somebody great, and I have had opportunities to play real people, but whenever I play somebody real, I really try and do them justice, Are
you a big jazz fan anyway?
I wasn't a big jazz fan until I got the script and I listened to, I don't know if you guys have listened to Miles Davis, man. The Birth of the Cool, that album. I mean, I was just blown away that in modern day, it still resonates so well. And so after that film, I became a big jazz fan and still am. And as a matter of fact, my son he goes by the name of Young Cassowary. He is doing amazing as an artist. And the reason why he's doing so well is because his music has a jazz foundation, even though it's hip hop and it's funk, but it has a jazz foundation. And people hear it and they just go, "This isn't your normal hip hop. This isn't your normal funk. This isn't your normal kind of like stuff that you hear pop music on the radio. This is something different." And I think it's because he grew up listening to jazz as well.
Amazing. So he's like a niche almost. Yeah. He's found something someone else hasn't done. It's going to blow up. That's what's going to happen, Larry. He is going to blow up.
Yes.
So you've got quite a couple more like producing credits on IMDb. Is that actually being a producer, or is it a case of then, you lended a hand?
No.
Let's give you some more credits.
No. I got to the point in my career where I just thought, I know too many people in Hollywood and London, and I thought, why am I still going on auditions and auditioning like this and not just having meetings? Why don't I create projects that I really want to do and do them? Or if I'm not in the film myself, just create projects that I like and I'll produce them. And so I put the word out that I was looking for scripts. I formed a company called Can You Dig It? And we started getting scripts in, and there are a lot of amazing scripts. The problem is you got to read through a lot of them before you get the ones that you really like. And then after that, the problem is you got to get the money to fund it so that you can get it made. But I just found that after you've been in the business for nearly 40 years, man, you know enough people who know enough people where if you get a great script, you can get something made. So nowadays, for the last, I would say probably the last 5 years, I focus more on producing than I do on acting. The acting jobs, they come because of my resume. And so very often people will just call me up. I just did a film we just wrapped last week called Lucky. And it's a film they're shooting like James Cameron is shooting those 3 films together. This guy shot 3 films together. So there'll be 3 movies, but we always shot them at the same time. So, you don't need the actors that long and you can use the same sets and all that stuff. It's a really good idea if you can get a good script. So I am now pretty much just accepting roles that I want to do and not auditioning as much or not doing as much meeting, because I'm trying to really focus on just creating scripts that I'd be proud of.
Amazing.
I was just going to say, that's amazing because you've got so much history. You've been on so many different sets, worked with so many different directors. to put that wealth of knowledge to then help the next generation who are coming up
exactly
is phenomenal.
Exactly. And that is my real intention. Lance Hendricks, who played the android on our who played Bishop in Aliens, we were at a con once and we were talking, and Lance and I we keep in contact outside of the cons and have been throughout the years. But he told me probably about 10 years ago, he says, Ricco, I'm doing this small independent film. And he said, they're young people, they don't have a lot of money, but what they do have is they have a lot of energy and they have great ideas. And I says, man, I'm not trying to do no little, films. I'm trying to get the big films, He was going, but Ricco, as an artist, this will quench that thirst. And I started doing smaller films, and I found it to be true that, yeah. But the other thing was, you are helping the next generation of filmmakers because you're walking in there with your expertise, and it raises the level of the entire production. And then people start, taking the whole production a lot more serious. So I thank Lance for that, Lance Hendricks for that, but giving me that little tip that, listen, man, there's another generation of filmmakers, and by us coming on set, we raise that level, and these guys, are really appreciative, and they come up with some great ideas artistically. So, yeah, I give credit to Lance for kind of like pushing me into that direction of thinking about the next generation of filmmakers.
Incredible.
Love that.
You mentioned cons. When obviously the pandemic was going on, obviously they all got shut down. But did you miss doing them when obviously they weren't around?
Say no, Ricco. It's fine. It's fine.
I can't say no, man. People gotta listen to this. Come on, man. Get me in trouble. No, let me tell you this, and then this will explain why my hesitation. The first con I ever did, I thought, oh man, this is easy. You just go, you shake hands with people, say hi, sign some autographs, and you walk away with a pile of money. I said, oh, this is great. Man, I did the first con, and I got to tell you, that night I was so tired. It was as if I had been doing an 8-hour exam. I was just drained. And I realized what it is that, when you do a con, you're meeting people who really love this movie or love whatever movie you're in, and they look at you differently. They give you eye contact like you don't normally get in our society. And so it's if you're not used to that, it's draining because you're trying to match their energy and you're trying to give them your attention. And then the other thing is, when you go to cons, people ask questions that you probably heard those questions a lot of time, but it's the very first time that they've asked it. So you want to give them the attention like it's the first time that you've been asked a question. So then you answer the question and you try to make it as genuine and as real and give them some time. But I found that it was really draining. And the other thing about the cons I didn't get was that because I work in the business, I don't see these people as being like, so special that you would. Some of these people in the cons, they save their money up all year to hop on a plane maybe, or to drive a long way, to put themselves up in a hotel, to pay a lot of money to meet somebody for 5 minutes and shake some hands. And I just thought, all that for these people. But then after doing a couple of cons, I got it. I want these guys, everybody has a passion. This is their passion. My passion may be watching a soccer game or something like that. My passion may be going to dinner and a movie with my woman. But this is their passion. And so when I understood that, I understand why their costumes are so amazing, because they pay attention to detail. And then I began to appreciate their passion. And once I did that, and I got used to the idea that, listen, just come in here and just be relaxed with these guys, and they just want to kick it for a little bit, and talk, kick it with them and talk, man. And then it became fun. It became fun. It all changed. But when I first started, it was really draining for me. So when the pandemic happened and they all stopped, I missed traveling. And I do miss seeing the costumes, because the sci-fi fans, there are no fans on the planet like them, man. They will come in there with such detail that to what their wardrobe. They'll ask you questions that you know that they have paid a lot of attention to the movie. Very often, I don't think they realize that they may be asking me a question about a movie that I did 5 movies ago. So I don't really remember that movie that much because it's not so present in my mind. But they know more about that damn movie than I do at that time, it seems. And so I find myself getting stuck a couple of times because I just don't remember a lot of the details about it, because after I finish a movie, the moment I finish a movie, you know, you're unemployed. And so your focus is going to the next job. It is no longer thinking about that movie, no matter what that movie was.
It's like this image in my head for some weird reason of it being like, so Rico, when you said this part about this, when this happened, and then you said this, and then you went and took a shit. So how was it?
Exactly.
Like, did I? How do you know?
Right. Exactly. As a matter of fact, I was at a con after they started showing the cons after the pandemic. I was at a con just recently, and a guy asked me about this thing on the back on my suit that said, "When in doubt, nuke 'em," and it was on my uniform. And I was like, the thing is, as you know, James Cameron had come to us. He says, "Listen, we're going to give you these uniforms, and we want you guys to each personalize them. Do your own thing, personalize them." And so for me, I and keep in mind these uniforms were you had your fatigues, but over the fatigues you had these metal armor plates. And so I scratch it hard into my armor plate, and then I'm putting the mother of my kid's name. I'm scratching her name in there, right? And as I'm scratching it in, her name is Heather. I realize halfway through, I don't have enough room to write Heather. So I'm already started. I can't go back, man. I can't erase it. This is fucking metal you're scratching in. There's one uniform. This is it, bro. And so I just left the ER off and called her, because I did call her Head for short. But people read it and they see Heath, and they want to know who is Heath. So I get a lot of male guys who like me, and they think that it's because I have Heath. They thought maybe that it was my boyfriend or something. But this one guy came to me after the pandemic started, after we finished the pandemic and the con started. He says, "Why did you have this when in doubt, nuke 'em?" And I didn't remember that I had written that, but then he showed me a picture, and of course there it was on my suit, "When in doubt, nuke 'em." And I do remember after I saw it, I remember doing it. I'm a bit of a pacifist. That's why I thought, I don't know if I wrote that. And then I remember, yeah, we're talking about space, we're talking about aliens, we're talking about having to have superpowers to defend ourselves. And I did write that as a Marine. I wrote, "When in doubt, nuke 'em."
Amazing.
I've seen you've been doing like
there you would, but you got a guy who really paid attention, more attention than I paid to about that movie now, and then was able to enlighten me on my own character's uniform.
A friend of ours hosted one of your panels at New Orleans Comic-Con not long ago at the end of June.
Yeah, that's right.
Our friend Ori hosted the Aliens reunion.
Oh, that's
panel.
right. Yes.
She said to say hi, by the way. But
thank you. She's a sweetheart.
How is it doing those like Aliens reunions panels? Is it good to like hear these stories from other people's perspectives and stuff?
I tell you that the best thing about it, man, and this is why I love cons so much right now for this particular reason. What I do love about cons is that they force our cast to get together on a regular basis. And it was one of the, I mean, you don't have a lot of films where I don't think you have a lot of films where you have a lot of people that get close to each other. A lot of times you come in there, you do your thing, you leave. You don't, a lot of other characters, you don't even meet them. This was a film where we actually had to be together most days on set, and we did get to enjoy each other's company and get to know each other and become more than just working colleagues, but we became friends. And what Alien fans have done is that they've given us a reason to get together every so often, every 2 or 3 months, And I love that, man, because we get together, man, and I'm so happy to see Jeanette. I'm so happy to see Michael Bean and Lance and Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser was a comedian first, and then he does this film, and all of a sudden people see him as an actor. But Paul Reiser was the snake on the film. I mean, he was such a hated character in the film, corporate guy. But off screen, Paul Reiser is one of the funniest guys you'll ever want to sit down and have a beer with, man. This dude, he is another person that I guess his background is a comedian, so he just sees life differently. But what I really like about the cons is that they give us a reason to come together. And then also when we're at the cons, you bump into other actors that you've worked with in other films. So you see them and it's so good to see them as well. So that's what I really enjoy about the cons.
That's amazing. Before we start wrapping this up now, when I was doing my research, as I mentioned in the intro, you were in Doctor Who. And I was like, right. I need to see a clip of this man in Doctor Who. I need to know 2 questions about this clip from Doctor Who. Is that you rapping? And do you remember the rap?
The answer to your questions is the first question, yes. Incredible. The second question, hell no.
I was so hoping to go, yes, I do. Just start busting it out for me.
If I did, I would do it, man. But I just got into a habit of once it's over with, for my own sanity, when it rolls over with, I lose all the dialogue. I don't care how long I've been doing it. I just let it go. But if I tell you one thing, if I heard it once, I'd be able to do it for you.
Never had that thing where you've got a song stuck in your head, you go, why is that from? And it happens to be that. You're like, why do I keep singing this? Like, what is that?
No, but if I heard it, if I turned the television on and saw that on and I heard it, it would all come back to me very fast. But
it's on YouTube.
Do it right
40-second clip. It's on.
But when I did that, I didn't understand how the history of Doctor Who. I didn't understand the cultural effect of Doctor Who, and I had no idea that it would still be such an amazing show. I mean, it really has. This show has kind of like changed to fit the times, and it's kind of made it to 2022 and beyond. And I take my hat off to him. But like I said, when you're doing the film, man, I just come in there. I think I was only in 4 episodes of it. I come in there, I do my thing. The job's over with. I move on to the next job. And years later, I'm glad that was one of the jobs that I was able to do because I realized how important it is to a lot of fans.
You're a part of history, Ricco.
You're
a massive part of history. Yeah.
So, Mr. Ross, what's next for you? Anything coming out that you can talk about? Anything for people to look out for? Because I've seen on Instagram you're always on a film set.
Right. I got a couple of films coming out. One is the Lucky that I told you, it's called Lucky, and there's 3 parts to that. It'll be a movie for television. So we just shot that. I have a couple of projects that I produced on. And one of them is called Do Something, and it's basically about kind of during the pandemic we shot this film during the real pandemic. We shot this film about social justice issues, and we shot most of it with iPhones, and then we brought in some cameras to shoot the other part of it. But we shot the film, made it, put it into 10 film festivals. And we ended up winning 7 awards, and one of the awards, some of the awards were best film. So that film, we're now we're transforming it into a mini series, and we're going to try and see if we can sell it. So that's one. And I play. There's a kidnapping that takes place in the course of the movie, and I play a cop trying to figure out who's done the kidnapping. So that's a film. While I'm the producer and an actor, and it is what I was telling you earlier. It's a film that I think this film says something, and I wanted to do films that says something, and if we can get it sold to HBO or something like that as a mini series, maybe a 6 or 8-part mini series, I would be over the moon.
Amazing! I'll keep my fingers crossed. That'd be so good.
Thank you.
Sounds amazing. Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guest?
I do. Ricco, when you first started out, when you went to college and you did, you went to England and stuff to do all your acting business and whatnot, did you ever think that when you first started out that this is where you would be today?
I think to be an actor, for a lot of actors, it requires maybe almost an obscene amount of confidence, because you get knocked down so much. Every time you go into an audition and you don't get that job, which is most of the time, they're basically saying, we didn't like you. We didn't cast you in it because we didn't like you for the part as much as we like somebody else. And for some people, that's hard on them.
Yeah.
You're constantly getting rejection. So you have to have a lot of confidence just to kind of balance that thing out, so it doesn't beat you down. So I, coming from a large family, I learned how to personalities, and I had confidence because of my college years in college. I also had confidence as a young man. I felt like I knew enough to at least have an opinion. And so when I started acting, I did walk into the room with a lot of confidence, and that I can at least do my thing. And I think it served me well. And so I had hopes of having a successful career. I thought I would have a successful career. And if I'm honest with you, I thought my career would be even more successful. I thought I would have the career of Denzel Washington. That's what I thought I would have. And I didn't. But I am, I don't have many regrets because I've had a great run at it, man, and it's been long, and now I'm producing, and so it's all good,
Exactly.
But I mean, you're more handsomer than Denzel Washington, so at least you got that, that's going. So, yeah.
So I know Denzel. Denzel, as a matter of fact, the first time I met Denzel, he came up to me and gave me compliments on my performance in Aliens. And that was the first time I'd ever met him. And he told me that year he had worked every week except for 4 weeks in that year. So he was just blowing up. And we met on the basketball court. We were playing basketball here in LA. And that's when we first became friends. And then later on, when I moved to England, he came to England to shoot, I think, a movie called Queen and Country. And we met up for dinner. And at the time, I was working as an English actor in London, and I was telling him, you need to really work on this accent, man, because it's not, you think you know it until you get on set, and it's not that easy. And he said he was actually living with an English family. And so he'd done this film, Queen and Country. I never saw it, but the one thing I heard people did criticize his English accent. And also a lot of people criticize the fact that he was playing that role instead of casting an English person to play that role. But the truth to the matter is, if he hadn't decided to play that role, the movie probably never would have been made. So no, I got nothing but love for Denzel. But yeah, that's kind of what I imagine myself being able to pick and choose. And most of my career, I have not been able to pick and choose. I've been able to work a lot, but I haven't been at the position where I felt like I could turn down much. And there have been some jobs where I've turned down, but most of the jobs, even if I didn't want them, I would do them anyway. To quote an actor that from England, Michael Caine, he said, sometimes when you enjoy a certain quality of life, you have to do a lower quality of movie.
That's awesome.
What a phenomenal quote. I love that.
So there you go.
Mr. Ross, before we let you go, we like to play a little game with our guests, if you're willing to play.
No.
It's called the quick fire.
You got me nervous now, man.
No. All we do is we ask you 5 questions, and they're all about yourself, and you just answer them as quick as you can. It's as simple as that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll give you a nice and easy one to start off with. Your favourite pizza topping?
I'm nervous here, man. I'm nervous. My favorite pizza topping?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy, man. My favorite pizza topping is I'm a vegetarian, so it'll be vegetables with pineapples, and you definitely have to have some mushrooms in there. Yeah. and some vegetables. Yeah.
There you go. See, that wasn't so bad, was it?
Let me change that. I probably, if I'm saying my favorite, I probably prefer to have some pepperoni in there, but because I'm a vegetarian, I don't. but I'm gonna be real with you, man. Yeah, I would prefer. My favorite would probably have some pepperoni in there.
I love that. What is one word that people would use to describe you?
Wow, that's good. I can only go from what I hear fans say, because most people you don't really hear what people say about you, but the fans often kind of I kind of feel like they think that I'm a nice guy. So I would say probably humility or something like that.
Nice.
We concur. What was your first ever job?
My first ever.
You're on mute, Ricco.
A lot of people in I guess a lot of young kids, their first job working at a fast food joint. So mine was the same. My first job was working at McDonald's, and I remember I was working at McDonald's and going to school, and I remember one of the managers says, "Listen, you stay here, you stick with it, and you could become a manager." And I remember thinking, I don't want to be a manager.
No.
Thank you, sir. I needed some motivation to get a different job.
Exactly.
What is a language that you would love to learn?
A language that I would love to learn?
Yeah.
Because when I lived in Europe, in England, I also for the first 4 years while I was there, I moonlighted as a model, and I would travel to Paris, Milan, Munich, and London, and we would finish either in New York or Las Vegas. And when we first started traveling, we would rehearse in London, then we'd go to Paris and we'd do a show, and the whole group of models would start speaking French once we were in Paris. Then we move on to Milan and do a week in Milan, some time in Milan, and they would all start speaking Italian at the restaurants and just ordering in Italian. And then we go to Germany and people would start speaking German. And I remember thinking, I want to be able to do that one day. And so for 4 years, I worked kind of moonlit as a model. And by the end of the 4 years, I was able to speak German, French, Italian. And to this day, I can speak them like a 3-year-old, but my best language now is Spanish. And I can speak Spanish like a 7-year-old. So I've grown up.
Incredible.
Fantastic. Last but not least, if you were to get into a time machine, go back in time to young Master Ross and give yourself one piece of advice, what might that be?
Oh, that's a great question. I've heard other people have this question and they've come up with such amazing answers. Okay, one piece of advice. Don't worry. It's a big world out there. You're going to see all of it and you're going to be fine.
Oh, love that. Love that. Fantastic.
Oh, Ricco.
Ricco, this has been so much fun. I've loved this so much. Thank you so
guys,
much
man.
for joining us.
It's
my
been great.
pleasure, man.
But before, I bet your arms are killing you from holding that phone. But, before we do let you go, are there any social medias, any plugs, anything you want people to go check out?
I got out of the habit of social media during the pandemic because everybody was so opinionated, and so I kind of backed off of it. But I do post things on Instagram, and my Instagram name is my name, Ricco Ross, but Ricco with 2 C's. Most people think it's 1 C.
Silly. Yeah.
Everyone goes
Silly.
Yeah, just sausages. Yeah. How could you even think it's 1 C, you absolute melons?
Oh, that's so much fun.
Absolute hero. Ricco, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you pulling over just to do this interview for the last hour and a half. So massively appreciate it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care of yourself, and we'll speak to you soon, my friend.
Man. Hey, listen, it's nice to talk to you guys, man. I lived in England for 13 years, and my heart is always there. It's ruined me living in America, because when I'm in America, I want to be over there, and when I'm over there, I want to be over here. But I love the fact that I have this connection with England, and you guys are forever cousins, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ricco. That means the world.
All right,
if you're ever over here, let's grab a beer.
There you go. All right, guys.
All the best, my friend.
Yourself, sir. See you later.
All right, all the best, brother.
Cheers, Ricco. See you later. Bye-bye.
What an amazing conversation. And just the opening line of that conversation will always forever make me laugh. Ricco, what's going on with that background? Crack me up.
I was just curious, because it was just, I don't know. It's something, until he said he was in the car, nothing didn't sit right. I was a bit like, oh, that's interesting. I
love the idea that he was just doing his errands and went, shit, I got a chapter two English boys. Let's just park over here.
One English boy, one Scotsman.
Two British, I should say.
Thank you.
Don't
make me sick again. But it was great. I absolutely loved it. I love that he was like, yeah, I don't care. I'll sit in it for an hour and a half. I'll hold my phone up.
Yeah, you could tell towards the end, and I'm pretty certain his headphones died, because after a while he's like, yes.
Guys, you're going to absolutely love this one, and hopefully that you enjoyed listening to it as much as we did it recording it.
All right. Is this thing on?
Well, howdy doody, everybody.
This is Braden Berry from Say We Can Fly, founder of Stay Cozy Clothing, your one-stop shop for the coziest, most fashionable hoodies, t-shirts, and more.
Gosh, Mickey.
That's right, folks. And we're proud to say that we are now sponsoring
the Chronicles of Podcast. Ouch.
Hosted by Tom and Jamie.
Like, you can get 10% off, man. That's right, Shaggy. Just use the special code, The Chronicles, at checkout.
Oh, boys.